The NFL comes out with their top 100 players every year. Top 100 is too much for me to do, so I'm going to do top 10 at various positions. What a better place to start than with top 10 quarterbacks. Now, there's a bit of an algorithm that goes with my top 10 quarterbacks. I don't just look at stats. I look at what you've done for me lately, playoff stats, seasonal stats, and other things. How many wins you get, how good of a team you are, how good is your team. So without further ado, let's get the list underway. At number 10, I have Andrew Luck. Now, Luck hasn't been around the best team. He hasn't had the best offensive line, and, well, he hasn't had all that much help. That hasn't been able to keep that offensive line hasn't been able to keep him healthy. Now, because of it, he hasn't, played full seasons. But when he does play a full season, he is a pretty good quarterback. We've seen it in the past that he does play like the franchise quarterback the Colts drafted. I think when the Colts figure out that offensive line problem, we'll see that Andrew Luck, like I said, that the Colts drafted to be the franchise quarterback. And I think that 10's a good spot for him right now. At number 9, I have Alex Smith. At number, I think people don't give Alex Smith the credit that he deserves. People see him as a game manager and not a game winner. I see him as a game winner. He's a very efficient quarterback who wins you the ball game. He doesn't make mistakes in the red zone, and he overall gets the job done. He can't, obviously not everybody can get past Brady. Well, nobody really gets past Brady, so he's not going to win as many playoff games as you probably want him to. And the Andy Reid offense isn't helping him out. I think 9 is a good spot for him. I think that he won't climb the list too much, but I think 9's a good spot for him. At number 8, Cam Newton. Now, Cam is not coming off the best season, but I think that, he's had seasons like this in the past where, the team maybe didn't get better around him, but he still played good. I think he played fine. The team around him wasn't the best. I think he will bounce back from this. I think that he's shown that he can be a top 10 quarterback when he plays like he did back in 2015. Another guy who I think gets the credit, but maybe not the credit of the top 10 quarterback. I think he's a very good quarterback and will climb up this list eventually. At number 7, I have Matt Ryan. Now, Matt Ryan's a pretty good quarterback. He's coming off an MVP season. Played in the Super Bowl. He lost. I could say not all his fault, but he played great the whole season. And for that first half, he played great. He's had good seasons in the past. The year before this year, didn't have the best of years, but he was good enough. He played better this year, obviously in the MVP-like season. Interesting to see how he plays now without Kyle Shanahan. I think that he will climb up this list eventually for years to come. He will get better, and he is a top 10 quarterback. At number 7, Phillip Rivers. Now, Phillip Rivers is getting older and isn't going to put up those amazing stats anymore, but he's going to get the job done. And I think that he's good enough to be called a top 10 quarterback still. And I think he will retire a top 10 quarterback. I don't know when he will retire, but when he does retire, we'll still look at him as a top 10 quarterback. The offensive line hasn't helped him, just like Andrew Luck. He has thrown a couple more interceptions, but like I said, offensive line doesn't help him. He has to force the ball a bit more. I think that if the Chargers can figure out the offensive line, he will get better. I think he does. I think he won't do a lot of moving up in this list. He's good enough at number 7. At number 6. At number 5, I have Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has done it all in his very short career. He's done it all and he's only going to do more. Russell Wilson is a great quarterback who, last year didn't have the best of seasons, but it wasn't all his fault that offensive line didn't help. But he's a scrambler-type quarterback who will get the big play for you, even if with a bad offensive line. I think he will climb up in this list. He will get he will bounce back from not an off year, but not the best year in his career. At number 4, I have Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger has had great seasons, considered retirement. I don't think he should retire anytime soon. He has put up great numbers. The only thing that's holding him back is the injury bug. I think that once, he's still putting up good numbers. He does all these things. I think that once again, a guy who just can't get past Tom Brady, or else he would be in the Super Bowl here and there. I think that he still has a lot of years left in him. He still puts up great numbers, and he's a top 5 quarterback. 4 is a good spot for him. And at number 3, I have Drew Brees. Drew Brees puts up amazing stats year in and year out. Interception number did go up a bit, but I think it's fine because this guy throws for like 4,000 to 5,000 yards a season. He throws like a bunch of touchdowns a season, holds a bunch of records. This guy will go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, in my opinion. Maybe not the greatest, but one of the greats. And I think that he's another guy that still has a lot left in him. He's a bit older, but he has a lot left in him. Still shows that he could still do it. You don't want to leave too much time on the clock for a guy like Drew Brees because he will cause some damage. At number 2, I have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can be considered a number one quarterback on any other top 10 list. I have him at number 2. I think you could go either or with Aaron Rodgers. He is still a great quarterback. He gets the job. He's another guy who gets the job done. You don't want to leave too much time on the clock for him. Ask any Cowboys fans. You don't want to leave any time on the clock for him because he will cause some damage. I think it's a thing of, who do you like better? Aaron Rodgers or the guy I have at number 1? But I think that 2 is a good spot for Aaron Rodgers. Now I have honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Derek Carr. I did not put him in my top 10 list. I think that he's not there yet. I think if he keeps playing like he did last season, he will be there eventually. He had a couple good seasons so far. He will make my top 10 probably eventually, just not right now. My second honorable mention is Matthew Stafford. Stafford had a great season this year, and he keeps producing great seasons like that. He will climb up the ladder and be a better quarterback, and will eventually make my top 10. He was very closer than Carr was to making my top 10. But I think that this is a good spot for Matthew Stafford. And the number 1 quarterback it's obvious who it was. It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the number 1 quarterback in the league, and you could say he's the number 1 quarterback of all time. I mean, I'm not going to say that because, in my opinion, it's Joe Montana. But this guy puts up amazing stats. Maybe doesn't blow you away, but gets the stats when he needs to. He can win you the game. He can do all these things for you, and it's without a doubt he's the number 1 quarterback in the league right now. Once again, another guy who has a lot left in the tank and has a lot left to do. Interesting how he's going to follow up this Super Bowl season. Defending season.